HOA Karen trash library meeting room, fined 90K in ban from library. The library's meeting room was a sanctuary, a quiet haven where the community gathered to share ideas, dream big, and connect. That is, until Karen stormed in, her heels clicking like a war drum, her voice already slicing through the calm before the meeting even began. "This place is a disgrace," she barked, eyeing the modest chairs and scuffed tables as if they'd personally insulted her. "I'm Mia, a librarian who'd spent years nurturing this space. I'd seen kids learn to read here, retirees find purpose in book clubs, and neighbors mend fences over shared stories. But that evening, as the HOA meeting loomed, I felt a knot in my stomach. Karen, the self-appointed queen of the neighborhood HOA, had booked the room for her monthly tirade. Known for her relentless complaints about everything: mailboxes too rusty, lawns too long, she was a storm in human form. Tonight, though, she wasn't just complaining. She was about to unleash chaos. The meeting started innocently enough. Neighbors trickled in, clutching coffee mugs and notepads, ready to discuss community garden plans. Karen, perched at the head of the table, her blonde bob immaculate, waved a manicured hand to silence the room. "We're here to fix this neighborhood's pathetic standards," she declared, her tone dripping with disdain. I hovered by the door, organizing books on a cart, keeping an eye on things. I'd dealt with Karen's tantrums before her rants about unapproved porch decorations or tacky holiday lights, but something in her eyes tonight felt different, hungrier, meaner. As the discussion turned to budget allocations, Karen's voice grew sharper. "Why are we wasting money on this dump of a library?" she sneered, gesturing at the walls lined with donated books. "These shelves are an eyesore, and this room smells like failure." Gas rippled through the group. Mr. Patel, a soft-spoken retiree, tried to interject. "Karen, this library is a community treasure." She cut him off, slamming her fist on the table. "Treasure? It's a landfill. I'd rather burn it down than let it drag our property values lower." That's when the tension started to simmer. I stepped forward, heart pounding but voice steady. "Karen, this is a public space. You can't just insult it like that." Her eyes narrowed. "Venomous? Oh, Mia, you little bookworm. Stay in your lane." The room fell silent, neighbors exchanging uneasy glances. I could feel the air thickening, like the moment before a lightning strike. Karen's complaints escalated. She railed against the library's outdated decor, the incompetent staff that was me, and even the children's reading corner, which she called a germ-infested mess. Each word was a jab, and the room's patience wore thin. Sarah, a single mom who ran the kids' story time, stood up, her voice trembling. "My daughter loves that corner. It's not a mess, it's a lifeline for us." Karen scoffed, rolling her eyes. "Then raise your kid better." That was the spark. The room erupted into murmurs, then arguments. Mr. Patel defended the library's value. Sarah's voice cracked as she spoke of her daughter's joy. Even quiet Mrs. Nguyen, who rarely spoke, muttered, "You don't get to ruin this for us." Karen, unfazed, doubled down. "This place is a blight, and I'll prove it." She grabbed a stack of books from a nearby shelf, rare editions donated by a local historian, and hurled them to the floor. Pages fluttered like wounded birds. The room froze. Horrified, I lunged forward, grabbing her arm. "Stop it!" "Karen," she yanked free, her face twisted with rage. "Don't touch me, you nobody." Then, in a blur of malice, she swept an entire shelf clear, sending books, framed photos, and a vase crashing down. The vase, handmade by a local artist, shattered into 100 pieces. That's when I noticed a stranger in the back, a man in a quiet gray suit, scribbling notes. He hadn't been at the meeting's start. Who was he? The chaos grew. Karen, now a whirlwind, flipped chairs and tore down a community art display, screaming about standards and taste. Neighbors tried to intervene, but she was unstoppable, a force of destruction. "This library's done," she shrieked, ripping a poster for a literacy program in half. I felt tears sting my eyes, not for the mess, but for what it meant. This wasn't just a room. It was memories, hope, a community's heart. Then came the twist. The man in the gray suit stood, his voice calm but cutting. Karen Thompson. She froze, mid-rant. "I'm Daniel Holt, from the city's Cultural Preservation Board. This library is a protected heritage site." The room gasped. I hadn't known that either. Daniel continued, his tone icy. "Every item you've destroyed, those books, that vase, those displays is documented city property. You're looking at serious consequences." Karen's face paled, but she tried to bluster. "You can't touch me. I'm HOA president." Daniel didn't flinch. "You're not above the law." He pulled out his phone, showing photos he'd taken of her rampage. The evidence was undeniable. Karen, red-faced, surrounded by the wreckage she'd caused. Neighbors stared, some in shock, others in grim satisfaction. Sarah whispered, "She's done it now." The confrontation hit its peak. I stepped between them, my voice shaking but firm. "Karen, you've gone too far. This isn't just about you anymore." She laughed, a brittle, desperate sound. "You think you can stop me? I'll sue this library into the ground." But her bravado crumbled as Daniel spoke again. "The city's already drafting charges: vandalism, destruction of public property, and emotional distress to this community. You're looking at fines, big ones, and a potential ban." The room buzzed with energy, a mix of anger and vindication. Karen's eyes darted, searching for an escape, but there was none. Neighbors began to speak up, their stories pouring out. Mr. Patel told of the library's role in his wife's literacy journey before she passed. Sarah spoke of her daughter's first book, read in this very room. Even Mrs. Nguyen, voice soft but steady, said, "This is our home. You don't get to break it." Karen's defiance cracked. She stammered, I didn't mean, it's just a room, but no one bought it." The weight of her actions settled like dust over the wreckage. Daniel stepped closer, his voice low. "You'll be hearing from the city. Expect a fine of at least $90 or $1,000 for the damages, plus a lifetime ban from this library." The number hit like a thunderclap. Karen's mouth opened, but no words came. For the first time, she looked small. As Daniel left to file his report, the neighbors rallied. We began picking up the books, salvaging what we could. Sarah found a rare edition, its cover torn but pages intact, and clutched it like a treasure. Mr. Patel righted a chair, his hands shaking not with anger but resolve. I found a shard of the broken vase, its glaze catching the light, and felt a pang of loss, but also hope. We'd rebuild. We always did. Karen, meanwhile, stood alone, her usual swagger gone. She muttered something about lawyers and stormed out, but the damage was done. Word spread fast. By morning, the neighborhood's online forum was ablaze with posts about HOA Karen's meltdown. The city followed through a $90,000 fine, a formal ban, and a public apology demanded. Karen's reign as HOA tyrant was over. Some said she moved away, unable to face the shame. Others said she was still fighting the fines, but no one cared anymore. The library stood stronger than ever. We held a community cleanup the next week. Volunteers poured in, bringing new books, art, even a replacement vase. Sarah's daughter painted a mural for the reading corner, bright and bold. Mr. Patel started a fundraiser to restore the rare books. And me, I kept doing what I loved, keeping the library alive, a beacon for anyone who needed it. Karen's chaos had tested us, but it also showed us who we were, a community that wouldn't break. What do you think? Did Karen get what she deserved? Or was the punishment too harsh? Share your thoughts. This library story belongs to all of us.